IGP news. Meba Bawumia Akwaba. Ahadiya latest and hot news. Aremeyaw Anas. Aniti so we now subscribe to the channel. For more than say we subscribe to the channel. You be answer we click the subscribe button. Now we belly notification. We are the video we upload on the first person I was a video. I think we are like the video and give us a thumbs up, my fee. Share my offer for so now we may be here now and somewhere also. I think Yambura and Sama Ameto Yapunoso. It's a reporting about the Samira community. It is answer.
Yeah, Doc, I would also begin with the Electoral Commissioner's statement. And to be very honest with you, this Electoral Commission has to be told in the face that they are toying with the stability and the peace of our country. There are levels of disregard for the intelligence of the Ghanaian people, their duplicity, their incompetence, their utter contempt for the history of that great institution before they are coming to occupy those positions has to be called out in no uncertain terms. I can't believe the statement the Electoral Commission issued. In reading this statement, I can't believe it.
Why?
Look at page 4 of Jean Mensah's statement. She says that, quote, "We certainly do not require external assistance in our line of work." Can you believe that? This is the same Jean Mensah who, as IEA boss, on the 28th of October 2015, issued a communique under the caption, "Engage independent body to audit voters register." Jean Mensah, let me read on. This is published online. It's on various portals, from Peace FM Online to Ghana Web. A communique at the end of the Institute of Economic Affairs organized debate on whether or not to replace the voters register has asked the Electoral Commission to show proactiveness and leadership by engaging the services of a competent, credible, and external organization to audit the electoral roll. External organization. Today, you issue a statement telling us that you certainly do not need any external support. The communique continues. The communique, which was signed by IEA Executive Director Jean Mensah, pointed out that though Article 46 of the National Constitution protects the EC from direction or control, it is nevertheless accountable to the citizens because it is a public organization which draws its funds from the consolidated fund. It was also agreed, according to the communique, that, quote, "There are irregularities with the current voters register. All stakeholders must work towards a consensus position on addressing these irregularities. The two main schools of thought on how to resolve the problem of illegal entries in the register are not mutually exclusive," unquote. Purging the register will ultimately result in a new register, while compiling a new register will rely on some existing data from the old register. The communique explained and added that what is critical is that the final output of this exercise must be a voters register with an acceptable margin of error, unquote. Jean Mensah, her own signed communique on the 28th of October 2015, calling on the then Charlotte Osei-led Electoral Commission to subject the voters register to an independent audit, to bring in an external body to build trust. So what has changed? Why this hypocrisy? Why this double standard? Why can't we have an electoral commissioner who can just be principled and stand by positions that she has taken in time past? Look, if Jean Mensah is totally new to this field and just arrived to this position, has not held views, put out communiques, issue statements,
Hot news all
taking
time.
on previous electoral commissions.
On YouTube.
We could probably
Hot
spare
news
her
all
that,
time.
you know, she really doesn't know what she's talking about, takes a different view of Article 46 of the Constitution, so let's cut her some slack. But that is not the case. All your statements are available online. Positions that you took. Today, you issue a statement that everybody calling for an independent audit does not understand Article 46. Meanwhile, at the time, you said that, look, even though Article 46 makes the commission independent, it is a public entity. It must build public trust, public confidence. It draws resources from the consolidated fund. It is the taxpayers, the people, who take care of the commissions and pay for the commission's work. And so they must be accountable to the people. What has changed? What has changed? Meanwhile, you go through this statement and doc, the levels of incompetence is shocking. Page 5 of this statement, discrepancies in the voters transfer. It says, in your petition, talking about the NDC petition, you indicated that some 243,540 voters were transferred illegally on the provisional voters register. You allege that the said transfers were without the participation of the voters. Then this is their response. We wish to state that the transfers were legal. During a press conference on 2nd September 2024, the Commission explained that the 2024 absent voters list and the transfer voters list provided to the political parties inadvertently included all transfers undertaken since 2020. Hence the higher expected figures. Can you believe this? And then they say this has been corrected. So every discrepancy, every anomaly that the NDC identified, you go through this statement, they confirm it, and they say inadvertently.
So that's the purpose of the...
How can we trust this commission?
That's the purpose of the exhibition.
Why should the commission depend on the NDC? If the NDC had not been vigilant, if the Dr. Mani Bawumia-led electoral IT directorate had not been vigilant, where would we be? How would we have known this? Let me continue. It says on Pusiga, we acknowledge that our officer in Pusiga carried out 38 unauthorized transfers. The said transfers have been reversed and the officer's appointment has been terminated. So we should accept it and move on and not have an audit of the register. When every single item...
They move on to tell you that they have systems inherent, they have processes inherent in their system which would have detected this anyway.
Please, please. They should tell that to the Marines.
You are watching JC News on YouTube. Hot news all time.
Unidentifiable and missing voter data. The NDC alleges that 3,957 voters previously registered were deleted from the 2024 provisional register without explanation. We wish to state categorically that the alleged missing voters have not been deleted. They are either on the voters register or on one of the following lists of the exceptions list. Can you believe that? Telling us probability.
Where should they be?
Thank you very much. That's what the EC should be telling us. They are either on the voters register or one of the following lists or the exception list or on the multiple list or the transfer list. I mean, what incompetence. And you want us to trust you going into such a major election with these shocking levels of incompetence, of gross ineptitude. You want us to trust you. It says that, look, corrupt and incomplete data. The production of the provisional voters list cannot be perfect. It involves the retrieval of data from a database and formatting it into a register that is presented to the public. In the extraction of the data, network errors may occur and lead to the corruption of data, which is then expressed in the PVR. This did occur in the production of the PVR. However, this was detected and the affected registers were promptly regenerated during the exhibition. I mean, what a commission. Are we safe? And we all know that a credible register is a sine qua non in any electoral system. It's so fundamental. it is absolutely crucial. And you have this EC, I mean, admitting to everything and giving us all kinds of cock and bull. He says, whilst the commission is not opposed to undertaking another fiscal exhibition of the corrected PVR in the 40,000 plus exhibition centers, given the time it takes to print and distribute the PVR, 3 to 4 weeks, it will not be feasible to achieve this due to the limited time to the general election. The commission intends to implement an online exhibition of the PVR at no cost to registered voters. And this is the more annoying part. Voters will be able to report on anomalies with their details within a time frame to be made available to the public. They are going to make that available to the public later. And how are we going to monitor this online exhibition? The reason why we do an exhibition physically in the manner in which we do it is that it allows for all parties. We are all having copies of the register. We are all present. We can all monitor real time
on YouTube. Hot news all time.
And see what is being done.
News on YouTube. Hot news all
Who
time.
has come with an issue and how it is being corrected. If it is done online, how can we police the process? And you see, elections are about trust. They are about public confidence. We have never done an online registration. What this Jim Mensah, Bosman Asari, and the NPP Food Soldier Appiahini led Electoral Commission are asking us to do are things that have never been heard of, never been done in our country. They are playing with fire. They are jeopardizing our peace and stability. And they ought to be told in very, very clear language that this will not be countenanced. This will not be tolerated. Look, if you read their own conclusion of their statement, they say that the commission takes this opportunity to assure the NDC and the general public that it has largely resolved the discrepancies. Largely. We all understand some basic English. Largely is not we have authoritatively, categorically resolved the issues. Largely. And you want us to go into such a crucial election, such a defining election, where the soul of our country is at stake. And you see, it is not in the interest of Jim Mensah. It's not in her interest that we will carry this her load of incompetence, of mismanagement, of ineptitude, after all of these admissions, with officials complicit, some of whom have been sacked. And I don't know why they should only be sacked and not prosecuted. That Pusiga official, why has he only been terminated and asked to go home? Democracy Hub demonstrators are not cooling off at home. A lot of them were innocent bystanders. So why is this Pusiga official, who clearly everything shows that these transfers were illegally done, why is he cooling off at home? No prosecution. Why? Look, Jim Mensah must be very, very careful. And I will urge all fair-minded Ghanaians. Already I have heard the Christian Council, I've heard the Peace Council, I have heard the respected former Supreme Court Judge, Justice Atuguba, call on the Electoral Commission to stop these shenanigans. And I think that we need to hear more voices from moral society. Clearly, for us in the NDC, it is time to activate stage 2. Remember, we announced that after the regional demonstration,
watching Juicy News on YouTube.
if we do not
Hot news all
get a
time.
favorable response from the
watching
Electoral
Juicy
Commission,
News
we will
on
activate
YouTube.
stage 2.
Hot news all time.
I will urge the party's National Executive Committee and the Functional Executive Committee to quickly meet and activate stage 2. We are ready on the ground as parliamentary candidates, ready with our troops and ready to comply with the instructions from the party's leadership. Clearly, this is not an electoral commission which should be allowed to plunge this country into disaster. We were just discussing a while ago the devastating consequences of war. And if you look at our continent, all the disputed elections which have led to full-blown conflict, it has been because of the register. Clearly, there was an attempt to rig the 2024 elections, which has been exposed. They have been caught, pants down, and they are refusing to eat humble pie. We are not going to allow that you are going to put this online. Meanwhile, we know the things you have done at your IT department. We know the people heading that IT department. A department that has been infused with party hacks. We are not going to accept that. How do you expect my constituents in places like Blonu, Niflapo, Agbetipo, places like Deva, talking about island communities, the furthermost part of the earth, as the Bible will put it, where there is no network, no internet. Come to Deva, come to Nyatipo, come to Ayiwata, Blonu, and the others. Island communities, far to reach communities. And there are many, many communities in Ghana. If you're a rural MP, you know what I'm talking about. Even in parts of urban Ghana, network challenges. The EC itself is saying that we should forgive them for some of their woes because of network challenges. You heard me read that. Now they are saying that they are going to put the register online. I mean, are these people reasoning? What do they take us for? Where is logic? Where is common sense in the work they are doing? What do they take us for? So these communities without internet, without network, how do they check online? How? So all of those people, millions of Ghanaians, should be cut off ab initio. They are cut off from the electoral process. Totally cut off. Because of the ineptitude. You have been so incompetent, so you say now you don't have time. It takes 3 to 4 weeks to print out the register. You don't have time. Look, they better do it. I believe that now in modern printing, if they call parties to the table, and I agree with Nana Akomia, that look, they should stop this posturing and being far afield and issuing statements.
Let's find out.
Convene the platform.
Let's find out.
I am sure that they can be printed.
You are watching
Let's
Juicy
find out
News
if,
on YouTube. Hot news all time. You are
the
watching
Honorable
Juicy News on
Agyapong is providing
YouTube. Hot
the-
news all time.
the solution.
Yes,
for this.
I read his
Nana alluded to
statement.
IPAC.
Yes.
But then IPAC will not include the other persons on the ballot
Yes.
who are not political parties.
Yes.
And so we know that about 4 or 5
Yeah.
of the contestants,
Independent.
they are independent candidates. So
yeah.
this is what he wrote to the Electoral Commission on the 23rd of September. Says, "Dear Electoral Commissioner, I write for and on behalf of Honorable Alan Kyeremanteng, independent presidential candidate, founder and leader of the Movement for Change, an Alliance for Revolutionary Change. The M4C and ARC have noted with deep concern reports of compromised data in respect of the current voters registered that the Electoral Commission is preparing for the 2024 general election. The EC has accepted the authenticity of reports of poor data control and has indicated that they are currently conducting an internal exercised to rectify the anomalies under reference. In spite of the Commission's efforts, the manner and process of remedial action remains in serious public contention. Therefore, given the integrity of the impending elections primarily rests on the functional quality of the voters' register, M4C proposes the following measures in support of securing universal acceptability of the voters' register. 1. The establishment of a high-level technical working group chaired by the EC with representatives of candidates cleared to contest the general elections and the consultants responsible for the EC data management. 2. The technical working group would agree on the process and the procedures for a full and comprehensive audit of the current voter register based on the following source documents. A. The final 2020 voters register. B. Limited registration information since 2021. C. Voter transfer effected since 2021. And D. Special voters list since 2020 to date. Each member of the technical working group ought to be provided access to original copies of the listed source documents and facilitated to determine the veracity of the entries in the said documents. 4. Representatives of candidates cleared to contest the general elections who have written evidence of any compromised data in respect to the current voter register are required to submit same to all members of the technical working group before the start of the audit process. 5. The final outcome of the collaborative comparative process will be deemed to be the final voters register for the conduct of the 2024 general elections. The proposed process outlined above mirrors a forensic audit being advocated for by a section of the Ghanaian public, and not to come up with a voters register acceptable to all contestants and voters in the upcoming 2024 general elections. The timeline proposed for the exercise is from 30th September 2024 to the 11th of October 2024. This will enable the EC to release the final voters register by the 14th of October 2024. M4C and ARC believe that approaching the resolution of the doubts around the voters register in such a joint manner ensures transparency of intent that will settle any lingering issues around the voters register and position the country for a free, fair, and transparent and credible general elections on December 7th, 2024. We appreciate your response to the above proposal by Friday, 27th of September 2024. With very best regards, Nano Heninto, Director, Elections Planning and Coordination Movement for Change. And distribution list, Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia, Dr. Daniel Augustus Latte Jr., Madam Ekwe Mr. Christian Kwabena Andrews, Mr. Kofi Apalu, Alhaji Mohammed Frimpong, Nana Akosua Frimpoma, Mr. John Dramani Mahama, Mr. Hassan Abdullah Yariga, Mr. Kofi Krantin, Mr. George Chumberima, Nana Kwame Bediako, and Mr. Alan John Kojo Kyeremanteng. So this is the proposal from Movement for Change, represented by Mr. Alan Kyeremanteng.
Very sensible proposal, if you ask me, and it's really
with timelines.
It's and it's really in line with what the NDC has called.
I think he's expanded the IPAC thing to include all those, because obviously once the EC has made a determination of who are eligible to contest the election and has gone ahead with the ballot and all that, any exercise that also excludes these persons who have a right in the election is also okay.
And you see, I keep asking, if you have nothing to hide, this opening up, who stands to benefit the most? Isn't it the Electoral Commission? All of this opening up, Alan Kyeremanteng's brilliant proposal. NDC has said, look, if you like, even bring the UNESCO guys, the UNDP guys, pardon me, or any other independent body. We've had a situation in this country where VCRAC crap,
the panel,
chair the panel to do a similar exercise. So, I mean, if you have nothing to hide, this in your favor, it's in your best interest. So, I mean, you just can't fathom. Why should this be controversial? Why should the EC erect a Chinese wall, a barricade? That was such a commonsensical thing. You just can't. You think about it, and as the young people, the Gen Z says, it busts your mind. It's mind busting. You can't believe what is going on.
Alright.
You're waiting for winning and summer abeto yapno so because GC so and our hello. So we subscribe ya. Omori say we subscribe to the channel since I had here latest and hot news and kwa Aremeyaw promo. Afriyie na like video give us a thumbs up. Nothing. Share my for now we be here now and some more Akoto Arrógant EC. Also get me at Gyamfi so we now comment box in my next video.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.